if you're a business owner or startup founder, life is going to throw so many things at you. It's personal, it's business, it's employees, it's the economy, so much. But if you're not resilient, the people who stay till the end and finish whatever they started, it's not even you being smart or not. It's not quitting. You know what I mean? It's not about any gift that you already had or even skills, because all of that can come, or opportunities or luck, or because luck can be created. In my humble opinion, you create luck with what you're doing, because I've seen it happen for me, all amazing opportunities.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Sam Dever Podcast, episode 127. This was an incredible conversation, to say the least. I can't wait for you to check it out. To watch this episode, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@thesamdeverpodcast. To listen to this podcast, be sure to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the Sam Dever Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Sam.
Yeah, we're here.
Yes, we made it.
This has been months in the making. I've been excited
Right.
for this one.
Me too. Me too. I was really happy to be part of your podcast, and I saw you had so many amazing guests, and I was like, okay, yeah, finally, that's my turn. So
No, absolutely. And you've seemed like you have been busy, according to LinkedIn.
yes, I am. Not even everything is not in there, because I don't have time to approve all the content the team is writing. But yeah, a lot of stuff is there, but not everything. Trust me.
It seems lots of speaking, a lot of accolades lately, I've noticed. Congrats on those. In
Thank
particular,
you.
I saw Forbes, and I saw, was it Los Angeles Business Week?
Business Journal.
Business Journal.
Yes. No, that was amazing. Yes.
Was that recent that just happened?
Yeah, it was in December, and they kind of issued one of their like, they have those reports. Those they do with them every once in a while, actually, and especially towards the end of the year. And then they selected a list of people in LA, based in LA, and these are influencers. What would did they call it? Leaders of influence, thriving in their 40s. I was like, did you need to say the 40s thing? Couldn't you have avoided that? But no, that was really an honor. It made my day, honestly. And the list were really of people that are very interesting. I've seen a lot of very successful lawyers, architects, designers. So I was really very honored and humbled to be part of this list, really.
And then I know we've talked off camera about, but the Forbes, how did that come about?
Oh, yeah. That was really very unexpected. And I know you and I connected sometime. I think right after I had the call from the lady from the Forbes Business Council Selection Committee or something. And I thought it was a scam in the very beginning, honestly. I was like, Forbes, really? And then the lady explained everything, the process and how they select people and the criteria and everything. And then she was like, and I'll always remember that, because that alone, it really made my day. And she was like, it's a no-brainer for us to have you with us. And that really made me really happy, on top of obviously the honor of being part of Forbes Business Council. So yeah, and I know we talked and we were planning for this episode right after that call. So yeah.
Yeah, well, no, and I'm super excited, and I know the conversations we've had, I've enjoyed all of them, and you seem like someone, you just have a wealth of knowledge.
Thank you.
So
learning every day.
Yeah, with this type of situation, it's not, oh, what are we going to talk about? It's like, no, what do we pick to talk about?
We'll try to make it as useful for people who are investing their time with us, and helpful as much as possible.
Absolutely. So I thought maybe a good jump off point would be, if you want to share a little bit about your background and all of what you do, and basically take us to this point you're at now.
So I am a computer science engineer. I have a master degree in innovation management and entrepreneurship. That came at a point in my life when I was like, okay, I have the technical background. I love technology and science. But then I wanted somehow to have some education about business, and it was not obvious for me to switch. So I was looking for something that would add this additional layer, if you will. And then next thing I know, I started my first company, 2007. It was a business, it was a digital marketing agency. Back then, digital marketing didn't exist. We talked about web marketing back then. It makes me look really old. But anyways, that's the truth. It was web marketing back then. We didn't even have the term digital marketing. And then it came naturally, helping people, helping businesses. And then there was a lack of education, and still is a lack of education for small business owners when it comes to the opportunities offered by everything digital. And then I was invited to speak in different events, and next thing you know, people like what you're saying, like and see that you're adding value, and they invite you for the second event. And they're like, "Oh my God, we have this company, and they want to train their team, and they want you." And then things, it just happened. It just happened. I was one of the very best, let's say, experiences. I was speaking at an event in Tunisia. It was about AI and the jobs of the future and things like that. It was back in 2015, I believe, or 16. And after a week, I received an email from someone in Portugal, the Portugal Smart City event, involved with that event. And they were like, "I was one of the attendees in the audience, and I loved your presentation. I would like you to come to speak in Portugal." And a lot happened like that, and I ended up speaking and teaching in Morocco, Algeria. Um, I had conferences in Spain as well, in the US, obviously, but also I believe in India there was one, but that was remote. I was invited in Lebanon, like so many countries, and every single time it's an amazing learning experience for me. So yeah, I enjoy teaching, I enjoy educating and getting people to where they need to be in business. And I work with a lot of foundations and organizations. I'm a mentor with SCORE. For people who are not familiar with SCORE, this is a nonprofit organization sponsored by the SBA, the Small Business Administration. And we're basically 10,000 mentors across the country. And we help small businesses for free when obviously we have time. But this is definitely a good resource for anyone who's, in the audience, and you own a business in the US. Make sure you check SCORE, mentors, and use the wealth of knowledge that is available to you as a business. So I'm a mentor with SCORE. I'm a mentor with the PCV as well, Pacific Community Ventures, which is a nonprofit based in San Francisco. And they help with funding, but also with the mentoring and for small businesses. I'm also a mentor and speaker with Select USA, which is we can talk about Select USA definitely later. It's an amazing event where we work on helping startups expanding to the US. I help tech startups specifically, and I work with women as well. So that's really the event to attract what we call FDI, for direct investments. And I'm very excited about. I'm a huge fan of Select USA. I can tell you more about it later. I write when I can for a couple of magazines, Managers in French, California Business Journal, and I'm working on, hopefully the next article with Forbes Business Council, and yeah, a few expert panels. Yeah, I keep myself a little bit busy, and I'm in the board of two organizations, the Lauren Foundation and the IRF. IRF is a think tank. We basically help startups and companies from India. My thing is tech startups expanding successfully to the US and investing in the country as well. So really quickly, that's it.
So how do you have any time?
I have no time. That's the problem. I wish I had 72 hours a day, and I need to learn more how to say no. That is becoming a big problem.
I saying no, and then also just delegation. I'm learning, like just being able
Oh
to
yeah,
delegate
I
more. Just
had
so many
to.
times, like I'll just do it, and then it's
Mm-mm.
like, but then you get bogged down, and
Yes. No, no,
yeah.
no. I learned the hard way to delegate, and I delegate pretty well now. I used to be like that. Let me do it. It's really quick, and I do it fast and right. But that's definitely not the right way. If you want to grow and really expand exponentially, you cannot do it. And then next thing you know, like you said, 24 hours are not enough. So definitely delegating. I agree with you, but also learning how to say no, and that's something that I need to learn, because I can see myself succeeding in so many ways and helping so many people, but then like you said, we only have 24 hours, and you end up not being involved as much as you wish. And I don't want to get to that point. You know what I mean? I want to really add value. When I say yes, that means that I really I'm going to invest time and energy and effort and committing to that, right? So that's kind of the challenge I'm going through it right now.
You know what? I love that. And I don't think anyone said it quite like you said. It just clicked for me, like how you said that. You're bringing more value to your yes by saying no.
Yes,
So, yeah, I've never really thought of it that way. So now when I
absolutely.
do say yes to something, that means like, no, I'm committed to this. You're going to get the best version of me with this.
Exactly. Yes. The best version of me, because otherwise you're stretching yourself too thin and you're not showing up as the best version of yourself with those people you're saying yes to, right?
Yeah.
If they're inviting you, like 2 days ago, I received an invitation from an organization in Africa, and they're looking for ambassadors. They're doing digital transformation for businesses in Africa, and they're working with startups as well. And they're like, we want to help them explore expanding to the US and growing and all those things. And we'd like you to be an ambassador. And we just sat yesterday, and I'm like, can I say yes? Like, it was a dilemma because that was really interesting. And they have a goal of impacting 1 million lives by 2027. And that's a goal that I'm really interested in, like impacting businesses and, helping them grow and eventually, ultimately expand to the US, especially for the most successful and innovative ones. But then again, I have all those things going on. So that's a challenge. That's something I'm learning, how to say no. So you add value when you say yes.
I love that. And I would think you being involved in so many things like you are, though, the plus side of that is, I mean, you're meeting all different types of people all the time.
Yes.
And what we're going to get to here in a second, just from a global perspective, like I can only imagine the types of businesses you're seeing because we're here in the US. We're in, it's a great place, but you're in this box still. So I'm curious your experiences overseas. Like you say, you bring the startup, you'd help startups get into the US and launch here. How did you get into that specifically?
Oh, so again, it's by saying yes to things that seem interesting to me. And first of all, and most importantly, because I went through this process myself. That's how I expanded my business myself. And then I went through all the struggles of not having the right information, not knowing what to do, not knowing who to turn to, who to trust. You know what I mean? All of that, I went through that. And when I had the opportunity to help those startups, and then you're successful with one, and then next thing you know, they're talking to whoever is advising them, and then they're like, oh, why don't you talk to this startup? Maybe you can help them. And next thing you know, it's working. They invite you to speak at this event, and the feedback is amazing. And then you know what I mean? Like, it snowballs. And success brings more success. That's what it is. That's why I want to say yes to something. I want to commit. If I say yes, I commit. But if I say no, it's probably, in your best interest, because you're not going to get the best version of me.
Not to derail us too much, but I'm just curious for you, like when you do say no, how do you handle, because that's actually a skill to be able to say no, but also not, how do I say it? Like you want to keep a good relationship maybe with somebody.
Yes.
But so how do you have that conversation?
Oh, it's a difficult one. That's a muscle I'm building. That's a skill I'm learning. But then also it depends on the person you have in front of you. Some people understand that when you say no, that it's for their best interest, and maybe no for now, maybe in a few months we can connect. Let's check back in a few months. But some people take it personally, which is not definitely the right way to think about it. Like, why did you say yes to this person that invited you to speak to this event and you're saying no to mine? You know what I mean? It's nothing personal, maybe the timing. Let me give you an example. Last year, I was speaking at the B2B Expo in the convention center in downtown Los Angeles. And I was invited by a friend to speak the day before in San Francisco. And that was, the day before. And my team, we had a booth, we had a workshop, we had a lot going on. So I needed to be there. That was, for people who have been in any trade shows, that the day before is a crazy day. This is where all the setup is happening. This is all where you send your reminders for people who you want to meet with, and all those things. And then I was like, okay, what should I do? And I decided to say yes, because this was like a really beautiful experience. And that was in parallel of the San Francisco Tech Week. And this was a workshop, like 1 hour workshop for a group of founders, tech founders, mainly SaaS companies. And then it was talking to them about online growth, acceleration. And my friend that reached out, she was like, I want you to talk to them. I want it to be like, compact. I want it to be short. I want it to be, like not aggressive, but really packed with value. Because they don't have much time. They're here to pitch. They're here to, network with potential investors. And they the same day they have to talk to, I think a lawyer is going to be talking to them and somebody else in investment. And that was really exciting to me because I knew I can add value just by being there for 1 hour. And I flew there the same day, had my workshop, went back to LA, 4 p.m. I'm in LA and working on the booth for next week, for the next day, for the workshop and I think we met in the
We
B2B,
did.
yeah, B2B Expo as well. So yeah, sometimes you have to say yes to things that are excited. It was easier for me to say no, and she would have understood. She's that kind of person. But then and it went extremely well. Like they were really happy about the presentation. They saw a lot of value and they started implementing stuff right away. That's the feedback I got after, coming back to LA. So that it was really exciting for me, giving adding value and getting this kind of feedback. And it opens doors as well, opportunities more than you can think of. That's why it's a good thing to say yes when you can add value. It was exhausting. I'm not going to lie. It was challenging, but it was exciting. And the result was just awesome. You know what I mean? So it's really up to you if it's worth it, if you want to take the bet. But I would never say yes to something where I know I'm not going to make a difference. I'm not going to add value. And I'm going to be true to myself, no matter how the opportunity is great or rewarding, financially speaking, because it doesn't align. And I know I'm not going to be comfortable with that. So saying no is easier for those.
That's a really good awareness to have too, because a lot of times, bright, shiny object syndrome,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this is going to look good. Or, it maybe helps our ego a little bit sometimes, but then to
Mm-mm-mm.
really be like, no, am I really contributing to this? And does this make sense to do?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how you build a personal brand. Because I have a lot of
Mm.
friends and even people reaching out. Now we have like a group, a directory of members in the Forbes Business Council, and we talk to each other. And then that's how you build a personal brand. Because I get those questions. You just you stay true. It's easier, obviously, said than done. But then you stay true to your values, to who you are. And grow one step at a time, one event at a time, one project at a time, but still true to that. That's how you build a personal brand. And I didn't even choose exactly, in the very beginning, because I was not aware, like 17 plus years ago. And you just learn by doing that. Every little thing you do, every post, every action, every choice, every decision, you're building this personal brand. And people get back to me and they're like, you're known for adding value, which is absolutely great for me because that's what I want to do, and how I want to be perceived and actually do, not just perception. You keep your word. And if you say no, there's no way for you to change your mind. Because when you say no, there's a reason, why. There's thinking behind it. That's why I don't change your mind. It's not that I'm stubborn. It's because there's this thinking behind it before you get to this decision, right? And a couple of other things, but everything aligns. And I'm very comfortable with this brand that I've built over the years. So, because I get this question a lot, more than you can think of. Um, People who want to build this brand and monetize it later, right? Build this, when they write those books or one of those paid speaking gigs and things like personal brand is a big deal. So I get this question a lot, and I'm not even trying to put this out there as a service or anything. It's just a question that keeps coming back.
Well, it seems like you were real intentional with that personal brand, where I
Mm-mm.
think, especially when social media maybe was Wild West, what, 10 years ago, maybe
Oh yeah.
social media 10 years ago is like what AI is now, like in the
Oh
mainstream,
yeah,
which we'll get
absolutely.
to, I'm sure here. But uh, yeah, I can see the value. And I do see people who do go in with intention, such as yourself. And it seems that does pay the dividends, whereas opposed to just throwing everything at the wall and hoping
Yes.
something sticks, which is maybe more of the philosophy I've done in media creation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I can see like the payoff of that. It takes time too. I'm sure it hasn't been an overnight
Oh,
thing.
yeah. That's why you need to enjoy the process. If you're doing it just to get to a point where you can monetize your time or do this or you can brag or all those things, that's not going to work because the process is really long process. It doesn't happen overnight.
Mm.
So you really need, that's why I'm talking about alignment with your values, because if it doesn't align, it's really hard for you to maintain that and to keep going with all the challenges that life is going to and your business is going to throw at you. So alignment is really key, and people will see it anyways. People are getting smarter and smarter, and they are educated, and they see it when people fake it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. And it's difficult for you to fake it for that long, anyways. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I
So.
love that. No, know your values. And as far as working with startups,
Mhm.
so aside from money that every startup's probably looking for, what
Yeah.
what are some of the biggest challenges that you help them with when they're trying to get up and going and
Oh, yeah,
maybe
that's a
into the
good question.
US?
That's a good question. So, one of the things that I noticed helping businesses, but specifically startups and tech startups expanding to the US, is they're facing more or less the same set of challenges, right? So, one of them is basically everything that has to do with regulations. I don't specifically help with that, but I have friends that really do well with that. But regulations, understanding where to start, what's the difference between federal, state, and local law, taxes, things like that. What is the best business structure, right? Is it LLC? Is it C Corp, S Corp? Should I expand my business in a way that the American entity is a subsidiary of my business? Should it be separate? All those questions. These are sometimes, and especially if you need FDA approval for a device or this or that. So these are really questions that keep coming back. The other big thing is how do you adapt your brand to the US market? That is really a big deal because usually in the process of expansion, that's the last thing they think about. It's more like you said, funding or business structure, taxes, business licenses, and hiring. All of those are really important. But then branding and marketing doesn't come, in my humble opinion, in the priority it should come to. Like, it's not really in the checklist. And I'm not gonna say where or who, but I attended like a big event, a workshop in a big event, and the person shared like handouts with a checklist for expansion, for US expansion. That was how it was presented, a checklist. And none of the anything that is on the checklist talks about marketing or branding or anything of that nature, like nothing. And that was like, okay, that there's definitely a problem here. It has nothing. It doesn't mean that the person was doing like anything wrong, but there's like a very important component that is missing, right? It's how you position your brand to the American consumer. How you need to understand that the American consumer is different from the country where. And I'm meeting with a lot of businesses and startups that are very successful in their countries. Very smart people doing amazing things, solving big problems in today's world and even in the future. So these are brilliant minds, but then they don't think about probably lack of information, or I don't know. They don't think about the branding. They didn't think about the expectations of the American consumer in terms of messaging, in terms of inclusiveness and representativeness and things like that, because it's not a big thing, everywhere in the world. I've been, around enough to know that this is really important here, but in other countries, it's not. It's not that is right or wrong. It's just different, and you need to pay attention to that if you're expanding to the US. Another thing is also I talked about the messaging, the branding, the positioning as well. A lot of startups focus on market research, which is great. Like, what is the size of the market? Is it the addressable market? All those things, because they need them for funding as well, right? And to kind of validate the concept and things like that. But they don't really do a benchmark on their competitors when it comes to their branding. In other ways, for instance, I have a program where I do exactly that. And every single time when I talk to those business owners or the startup founders, They say you're the first person to talk to me about this. And I talked to so many experts and I've been to those events. And nobody talks about how you need to do your benchmark and look at your competitors. Know before you go, basically, right? So, what I do, I make sure that we identify obviously their competitors, their online competitors, the regular ones, but also the online competitors, and have a very close look at their branding, their messaging, their content, how they're generating leads, how they're getting their customers, how much they're investing in ads, if any, how they're structuring their content, the customer journey, all those things, right? Really, really go down to the details. So much so, one of the companies that I was helping, they're building really high tech water filters, and they're expanding to the US. That meeting, showing them the reports and explaining to them how their competition, what their competition looks like in the US in terms of branding, that meeting alone took 4 hours. We had to split it on 2 days, 2 hours each day. That's how deep you need to go. First of all, it helps you make well-informed decisions when it comes to your branding and your marketing investment. And also, it gives you more confidence when you're expanding in your decisions, because now you know it's not just like a black box and some numbers. You identify them. You know what they're doing to get customers, because you're going to be competing with them, you know, like in the few next months. So that's something that I really found like is missing really a lot.
Yeah, because without doing the marketing and branding, it's like you're almost missing piece of the roadmap. You know,
Exactly.
you might be able to take it to a certain point, but it's like,
Mhm.
oh, what do we do now? Well, oh, yeah, we probably should have thought about that
Yeah, absolutely.
18 months ago.
Exactly. Everybody's focusing on important problems, but mainly funding, all those things that we talked about. But then how are you going to sustain that? How are you going to get your customers? And also, after the benchmark and the audit, I look at what they have going on, their own branding, and then we can kind of bridge the gap between what they have going on in their branding. It's the website, it's social media, it's media presence, it's everything, right? And then we look at their presence and we kind of show them the gaps, right? Sometimes it's as simple as using um like not using American English. I had an Indian company, and then they were like, oh, we have everything sorted out and we have our content ready, we're ready to go. And we kind of noticed that they're using some words that not really familiar to the American consumer, because it's Britain English, it's not American English, and things like that. And there was no inclusiveness, like in their representativeness, I would say, in their marketing materials, banners, brochures, everything. Unless you're targeting a specific audience, community, so everything speaks to them. I believe you should have representativeness, because again, they're thinking with the same mindset of their home markets, right? Which sometimes small markets where people look alike, right? It's like a big community, that's what it is. But in the US it's different. Another thing I noticed is I had this one person start. She was a female founder 2 years ago in Select USA. She was asking me, "What is this community everybody's talking about?" And I was like, really? Like, this is a very basic question, but very important question. And I'm so happy she asked this question. Everybody's talking about community. What is it? What is it exactly? And then I had to explain, what is it and how and why this is important for you to identify the community you want to cater to. And also, ultimately, when you expand to the US, how you want to give back, how you want to be part of the community and not just be, if you're here for the long run, if you want to build a brand, sustainable brand, and not just get some clients, and run some ads and that's it, because that's not sustainable. You're not building anything. If you're really for the long run, you're building a business, you're building a brand, that's, you want to be involved in the community, you want to understand what your community needs, right? So I had to explain all that, but that was like really shocking to me. What is community that everybody's talking about? And people think that this is obvious. It's not, because it's not a concept that exists in every culture.
Do you think part of the reason, 'cause, this is all fascinating, part of the reason is it's a lot easier to launch something now, right? I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
with technology and the cost of entry has lowered.
Yes. With the
You,
tools and
with the
yes.
tools and everything, do you think that could be part of it? That people are like, oh, we can just launch this and do it, type of thing. So they maybe like don't think about some of these things because they can come to market pretty quickly. And I'm not putting anyone down
Oh yeah.
because it's the age we can experiment. You can run
Absolutely.
Facebook ads on stuff and see what
Yes.
pulls and what doesn't. And uh, but it's also like it's a gift and a curse because yes, we can
Hmm.
get out there
Hmm.
quicker and less money, but at the same time, it seems like some steps get skipped.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. There's the good part of it. The good side of it is that we can launch things fast and cheaper. And that's absolutely amazing because, like you said, we can experiment and then you can fail fast and learn fast and try something else fast, which is absolutely great. I'm the kind of person that if I like an idea or have a project and I'm in, okay, let's make it happen. Let's see what happens. So I have this kind of behavior, and startup founders are a lot like that. That's why they get things. That's how they get things done. That's how they experiment with things. But then the other thing that you need to keep in mind, if you're in the game for the long run, no matter what is your exit strategy, you're planning to sell the startup, you're planning to, I don't know, to have somebody else manage it, to sell it to your employees. It doesn't matter. If you want to build something sustainable in the future, you're in it for the long run. And even if you want to exit, you want to sell the value of the brand before experimenting with those things. You want to make sure you align with the market. Like these are sometimes very basic things we're talking about. Just like you're having a party at home, right? You won't invite people, let them in when your home is not clean. You know what I mean? Like, and you don't have, if you have a theme or decorations, you want to have everything in place, right? So let me give you a very, very basic example. If your website is taking forever to load, no matter like how much money you're going to spend on your ads, it's not going to be as successful as if everything your website were ready for your customers to provide them the best user experience possible, if that makes sense. And that's really very like tiny example.
That makes perfect sense. And I'm laughing because it's almost like we've become snobs to some degree. Like, yeah, if I go on a website and nope, next, like there's too many
Exactly.
competitors now. There's too many
Yes.
options and we're spoiled.
Yes.
But it's like,
Yes.
hey, if this basic function's not even working, I mean, there's things that I really was excited to see before, and I go to the site and
Hmm.
it was just confusing. You couldn't navigate it, and that's just
Yes.
websites. It's not including everything else. So, yeah, I'm sure you see a ton of that
Oh,
in your line of
absolutely.
work.
And
Yeah.
it creates a negative perception of the business. It might be an amazing business, but then it creates this negative perception. Right? Like you said, the attention span is shrinking every year. And there's a lot of competition, and then we don't have time to invest into giving you as a company a second chance. You know what I mean? I would rather go back and click on the next link, even change the keyword. If I'm prompting ChatGPT or Gemini, it's even worse. I don't have time to give you the second chance. Maybe we used to have the time for before.
Yeah. This is, I mean, kind of related, but Amazon, I order a lot
Mm-mm-mm.
from them. I mean, now here in LA, you can get things the same day now.
Absolutely.
And now though, the expectations now it's like, oh, I got to wait 2 days. Where a year ago, 2 days was terrific.
Yes.
But now it's like, if it's not next day, I skip products. Like, all right, what other products on here that I can
Yes.
get? So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
it is interesting now how,
Absolutely. And that's what going back to those companies and tech startups expanding, you need to know customer service is a big deal in the US. And that's an amazing thing because it's not the same thing everywhere else. It's customer service is very important for you to be able to build a customer base and have those first customers and keep them and build this reputation. So that's one of the things I felt like are really overlooked. Before you do, I'm not saying that you need to wait too long or wait until it's perfect. It's not going to be, and that's not the best way to go about it. But then make sure that when you have those customers coming in, you're able to provide them at least a good user experience. Customers in the US expect we're spoiled. We expect, just like you said, a good delivery, perfect user experience, you being available to answer my questions, give me your fund when I'm not happy, no questions asked. Otherwise, you're really terrible, right? And if you're not a business owner that is accustomed to that, you will see that this is really, really high level and it's very challenging, right? If you're just, and that's real, you just sell your product, and pretty much it. You don't pay attention to that level of customer, service. So that's one of the things when businesses are expanding to the US, they need to pay attention to.
And what's the saying? I'm butchering it, but it's
Mhm.
you can do something perfect for a customer like 9 times, but on that 10th time something gets messed up,
Mhm.
and they'll go and tell everyone. Where when you're getting it right, they're not going to tell anybody because they just
Yes.
expect it. But you won't believe what happened. Right? My delivery was
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
this and that. Yeah, I'm done with them. So
Yeah, 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 yeah,
that's
yeah,
really
absolutely.
interesting. And I'm taking from another podcast I had seen you on, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but
Hmm.
I love something you said. You said, I like to work with people who are good at what they do.
Oh yeah.
And it made complete sense because I'm paraphrasing the conversation,
No, no,
but
no. I think I
you
know
could
what.
market the heck out of something, but if it's not good, it's not good, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So could you take
absolutely.
me a little through that psychology behind that?
So yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, if you're not good enough, let's say not good enough. If you're not good at what you're doing, no matter how much money you're spending, you're not going to be successful in the long run. And on top of that, you will have to spend more money to get this customer, to acquire this customer than a company that is good at that. Because when a company is good at that, it has a good reputation, right? So the cost of acquiring this customer goes down for them because they have this brand, they have this reputation. It's easier for them basically to convince customers, potential customers, and to turn leads into customers just because they have this advantage, right? If you, I think before, and that's why I'm not a huge fan of starting running ads immediately. I prefer making sure that organic marketing is done right, like cover the basics, as simple as that. Really cover the bases, have some systems going on, uh, answer their reviews, and do things like that. You know what I mean? And then you can scale something that is working even a little bit. You can scale it, and then learn by doing. And if you're not doing this, you're basically scaling chaos, right? If the customer service is not working, if you know the product is not good, right, then you're sure that you're going to have bad reviews. So why are you moving too fast for the to run those ads before making sure that you have the basics covered?
So organic's really a way to test things out for free
Mm-hmm.
before you do start running those ads and spending money on something that the product may not even be right now to
Mm-mm.
do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge fan of making sure that you use you exhaust, I want to say, the organic marketing possibilities that you have, and that can be very basic things that you could do in weeks. It's not months. And even if you know how to use AI, that's going to be probably in days, and you get your things like in a row when you're ready to scale. It's not necessarily months or delaying the process. It can be something as simple as making sure that your social media setup is done right. Plain and simple. I had like so many audits where people have the wrong phone number on their social media account, on their Facebook page. As simple as that. They have a URL that is not working. They have some typos in their descriptions. They don't have the best services in their things like that. Or somebody put something in there like a few years ago. And I'm talking about businesses that are not like small, like tiny businesses. I'm thinking about different examples, and these are businesses that are hiring. They employ like 20, 30, 50 plus employees, and they're talking about roofing companies, lumber yards, things like that, like very established, very well established companies. And they're like, oh, we need to run ads, we need to get those leads, we need to have more customers. And and they end up paying more per customer because of that, you know. So I'm a huge fan of organic first and then scale it with ads, and you're going to be more successful if you do it this way.
And you've actually spurred another question. I won't take us too far into the weeds here,
Mm-hmm.
but this being your area of expertise, but I don't know, Google ads, social media ads, wherever you want to label it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something to like once you start spending money on ads, now those platforms are going to expect you to keep spending money? So if you do stop spending, does that hurt you at all? Is there anything to that?
So keep in mind that those platforms are businesses, they're for profit. It is absolutely normal for them, just like you would do with your customers, to keep you coming back. That's absolutely normal. How they do it is a different story. But then I never saw a client that was penalized in the way that you mentioned, that, oh, you stopped paying, investing in the platform, now we're penalizing you. I've never seen something like that. And I don't think it's even a thing. It's probably, I don't know. I never seen something like that, like a platform penalizing you because you stopped investing. But I've seen campaigns go wrong because they're working. You're having the right message, the right design, the right, targeting. Everything is perfect. But then when customers try to check you out and then have more information about your business, they're not happy with what they're seeing online. They're not finding good reviews. They're finding mostly bad and managed reviews, right? One review or two not managed, nobody's going to die, but that's preferably not something that you want to have. But then when they look you up, they don't like what they see and you end up losing them. So instead of spending, say, $1 per customer, because those 3, 4, 5 others didn't choose to reach out to you, then you're spending 5 times more. That's kind of very simple, basic math. You know what I mean? That's why I'm a huge fan of make sure you're ready and then scale it up.
So clean your room. Make sure
You said
before the guests come.
Exactly.
Clean your room.
Exactly.
And I don't know about you. I'm a website checker. I don't know how many people actually, but I go there. I go to links.
Yes, me
personal
too.
brands and everything. I'm like,
yes.
Website's not working. Like something's, and I try
Yeah.
to stay in touch with mine as well to make sure that they're always up,
absolutely. It gives you this negative perception right away. I mean, that can be a good consultant, a good company, a good, but they're not just paying attention to that because they're investing a lot of ads and they're getting the leads, but they could be getting more for less just by making sure that these things are taken care of.
It's a great reminder. We talk a lot about how you do anything's how you do everything type of mentality. And just even if you have the best business in the world, you have to make sure your stuff's in order because first impression is so much.
Absolutely. Yes.
Especially
and if you're
here.
expanding to a new country, the customers are new, the competitors are very much established. You want to, first of all, make sure you align in a sense that you're providing at least an equal user experience to your customers. But I'm really against of the melting pot mentality. Like, okay, you want to be like the like the competitors that are in the market, do exactly what they do. I feel like if you're expanding, you want to really align with the basics because your customers, your potential customers are really presented by all those options, and you're going to be just one option of those. And you'll be surprised how it's not ego, but it's like, oh, yes, this is when you put yourself in your new customers, American customers' shoes, you will see that you're just one option. So you want to make sure that they have the same comfortable experience ordering, right? But also you want to add this little edge that what makes you different because you are different. By definition, you are expanding to the US, you are different. So I'm against the mentality of you, like being part of a melting pot. That's why I don't like the melting. I prefer a salad than a melting, because in a melting pot, you don't kind of distinguish the ingredients anymore. In a salad, you still see, right? The colors, the textures, they're different. So you're different.
Out. Yeah.
Right. You're different. You're expanding. So use this little difference, your background in your country, your identity also. So you add value because you're bringing something new. You're not just replicating a same business model because it works and you're here to sell. Obviously, we're all here to sell something, right? But then you want to add value, you want to make it different. You want to use your difference to add value, I would say.
Man, business, it's fun, but it's hard.
It is. It is. Yeah.
If you're not willing to put in the work, it's just like, then it is just go easy.
But it's fun.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's fun and it's so rewarding when you do it right. And when you win big time.
Yeah, no, I love it. And so is there anything else on the startup scene you'd like to say before we transition over? I know we wanted to talk.
Oh, there's a lot to say, definitely.
We could probably talk for 3 more hours on that.
No, we're not going to talk we don't want people to be disappointed and be like, oh my God, she's going to keep talking forever. No. One last thing is I wanted to talk about probably one event that people that are thinking expanding to the US, I would check out. I think you would like to, it's in your best interest to have a look, which is Select USA. And again, this is from a personal experience because like I said, when I was expanding and there was so much lack of information. And now with events like Select USA, you have, like, this is saving you hundreds, and I mean every single word, hundreds of hours in research, in mistakes that you could avoid easily, in looking for people in different administrations, in connecting with potential partners and investors, and having a lot of your questions answered probably on the spot, right? Site selection is another big deal. A lot of startups, they don't know that there's a discipline. It's called site selection, like to select where you will go in the US, because it can make a huge difference in terms of taxes, hiring, incentives, you name it. The same factory could cost you 3, 4, even more times more if you're not selecting the right, the right location, the right. And Select USA allows you to just have all those people under one roof, which is absolutely amazing. When I was expanding several years ago, I didn't know that it existed, and I mean it when I say that can save you hundreds of hours of research and thousands of dollars of consultations, of maybe costly mistakes and things like that. So that was the last thing. Check out Select USA. You won't regret it if you're thinking about expanding your business to the US.
Is there a website or anything where people can go, or they just Google it?
Absolutely. No, you just Google Select USA in one word, and then you will have the top two links, one of the Department of Commerce and the other one would be the website.
That's a great point you made, because people may know, oh, we want to go to the US, but where are you going to go?
Where do we start?
Where does it make sense to go?
Yeah.
Is it LA? Is it Miami? Is it New York?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that can make a huge difference, right? And then like we all talked about business licenses, we talked about FDA approval, all those things. And it can be extremely confusing, even for someone in the US building a business, right? I've heard that for many startups also here expanding that I'm mentoring. And they're like, okay, where do I start? How do I get the FDA approval for this particular device? And it's not easy to find the information, right? So the more you're informed, the better you know before you go, the better decisions you're going to make, and the more confident you're going to be about your expansion. So that would be, like, really quickly the last thing.
Okay, no, I love it. This is all great stuff. And
thank you.
Transitioning to knowing about technology and the famous buzzword right now, AI.
Oh yeah, and everybody's an expert in AI.
Everyone's an expert, right? If you didn't know. And so small businesses now in this new age of technology, and you working with so many of them.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just open it up. Like, what are some of the best ways you've seen small businesses utilizing these technologies, and where should they be utilizing these technologies if they're not so far?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So a lot of the businesses that I'm working with or mentoring, obviously they're using, like everybody else, ChatGPT, Gemini for all kind of things, mostly to generate content, right? That's the easiest thing and the most common thing. But more and more I'm seeing people, and I'm pushing business owners also to use it not just for content creation, to create an outline or something, reports and things like that, but to start thinking in a different way about AI. And let me give you an example. Like, thinking about AI as more like an agent. Like, we have AI agents, starting to be, like, popular, and I know that this is not going to be like this is not going to stop anytime soon. It's just going to go bigger and bigger. And AI agents are basically becoming more and more useful and smart. And think about it this way. So technology is moving forward, and then businesses and small business owners are being more and more educated about it. So the adoption rate is really high. Now, we can talk about what adoption rate means, because you could be using AI just for ChatGPT. Is that really adoption? So it's some degree an adoption, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm telling them to be prepared to use AI more efficiently and more in a deeper way. In a way, for instance, think about it as tomorrow you'll have, and there are some solutions like that online already. You will have an AI employee, an agent. That's what it is. That bot, that, if you will, that will be its job to do this. It's customer service. It's generating leads. It's, booking calls, all kind of things. So the mindset is shifting slowly, but then I think that's one of the basic things that are going to happen. You're going to have agents in your company, and maybe you will have like an employee-less company one day. That's a different dilemma. Where are gonna the employees go? I guess do more creative work, be entrepreneurs themselves, create other solutions. It's gonna be very interesting to watch.
Yeah, I even see now they have AI social media agents and
Yes,
all this type of thing. And
yes, yes, yes.
it is very, and I've go to a lot of events and you meet, it's amazing to hear, I'm sure you as well, like hear
Mm-mm.
all these ideas and what people are doing with AI. And
Yes,
some of them I hear, I'm like, wow, like that's mind
yes.
blowing. Some of them, not that it's not good, but I'm just like, do we need to have AI do that? Like, do we have to
Hmm.
have AI do everything
Yeah.
for us? Like, you're kind of creating AI to create AI, if that makes
Yes.
sense.
Yes. No, no, no. I hear you. Sometimes it's just AIifying a business or a startup idea. It's just for the sake of adding AI to make it sexier for investors or for
Yeah.
whatever. And people are being more and more educated. They know when really it makes sense and when it doesn't. And honestly, at this point, we just want an adoption rate. We want people to play around with the tools to get educated. So when there are things that are impactful to their business, they'll be able to utilize them. They'll be able to customize them. I taught, I don't know if I said this earlier, I taught MBA classes several years ago for 5 years or so, and it was digital transformation. And I had business, or I think it was 2017, 2015 or something. So I had in my classes business owners and CEOs, and back then, and I was talking to them about how you should consider including technology in your whatever it is that you're doing. I had all kind of business owners and CEOs. It's in the construction business. It's in food and beverage. So we talked about AR, augmented reality, VR. There was like a part of my course where I just explain what the technology is and give them ideas on how, and have them do exercise and things like that, on how you could disrupt your business model in a positive way, obviously, to generate more revenue, grow faster using this particular technology. We talked about 3D printing, AR, VR, AI back then, right? It was not obviously as obvious as today to talk about this. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is that um, I guess now we're just playing around with AI, and I think we just scratched the surface, honestly, of what's possible. And if you're educated enough as a business owner, you would know what is a good opportunity for you to exponentially grow your business. Chat GPT and all, it's not even used to its fullest possibility if you're just using chat GPT for content, right? There are so many ways it can help you with. So I guess what I'm saying, education, being open, like we said earlier, play around with those tools will definitely help you get ahead in selecting what AI tools are good for your business, and not just stay at the surface level of content and using some AI tools just for the sake of having AI in that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you'll be able to have this distinction between what is really where AI is adding value and where it's just kind of a fancy feature good to have. You know what I mean?
And that actually may be a good, before AI takes over the position, but being like an AI consultant for people. And is that something you do too? Like help people with, like take a look at their business, like, hey, here's how you could be implementing X, Y,
it's
Z, or
it's that and automation as well, because again, I always prefer making sure that the basics are covered, because these are tools that are already there for you, right? Making sure, sometimes I'm working with business owners that they have nothing automated, like everything is done manually, like nothing, and they're not using like basic automations that can serve them, especially small business owners, because we know they wear like 100 hats. They're doing this and that, and they're, next thing you know, they're the CPA, and you know what I mean, they servicing customers, they're doing all of those things. And simple automations can save you a lot of time. And when you add the AI component to that, when the tool is available, then sky is the limit.
kind of goes back to the delegation thing we were talking about
Now you're
earlier.
delegating to AI agents. There we go.
Yeah. Now, besides AI now, in 2025, are there any other technologies aside from AI that no one's really talking about? that they could be implementing, or they could have been implementing years ago? I guess because AI is just kind of taken over the
Yes,
conversation.
yes.
So
It's kind of the hype is all around
yeah,
AI
but
now.
there's some other technologies like, oh no, actually this and this is really good too, but no one
Oh
is
yeah,
paying attention
absolutely.
to it.
Absolutely. So I talked about just an example 3D printing earlier. I think it's really overlooked because now you have the printers that are not expensive at all. I've been in some fab labs recently as part of a project I was managing, and you see kids doing 3D printing, like kids 5 years and 6 years old, playing around with that and creating parts for their all kind of things. So I think that's a little bit overlooked because as a business you could be doing prototyping, you could be doing so many things instead of keeping thinking the old way. And I had a startup a few years ago that was printing jewelry. So the whole business model was about you creating a piece of jewelry customized to your loved one or whatever it might be, using 3D. They use 3D printing to create it for you, and it's customized. It's really beautiful. I've seen the pieces. So maybe the combination. What I would like to say, kind of maybe wrap up a little bit, the combination between AI and those technologies in the future is going to be just amazing to watch. You know what I mean?
So you're saying the AI is going to like make these other technologies even better,
Enhance
kind of
them.
like robotics and AI.
Yes.
AI is eventually going to go into,
Absolutely.
okay, gotcha.
3D printing and AI, augmented reality, mixed reality, virtual reality with AI. It's going to be very interesting. The use cases are going to be just amazing.
I know we've brought this up a couple of times, but just in medical alone, like being
Oh,
able
yeah.
to mix AI into medicine, that I'm all for.
Oh, yes.
With AI, like
Absolutely.
scanning you up, you got this, okay, great. Like,
yes, and even making predictions, what
Right.
the likability of you having this and that. And yeah, there's a startup I'm helping right now from Tunisia that's working on a platform like that. Just to, obviously, they're going through all the regulations and stuff like that. But the ultimate goal is not just for you to connect with your doctor, but also it will basically tell you what are the chances, like immediately, of you getting this or that disease, and what you should do like right away before you get that disease or whatever. You know what I mean? Because you're exposed to that more than other people. So yeah, there's a lot. I think we're going to see amazing use cases in the future. Going back to your question about small business owners, I always recommend trying different tools because we're at that level right now. Trying different tools, being open-minded, not just using AI for the sake of AI, right? But then trying to automate your business and delegate. If you have this mindset of delegating, AI adoption is going to be even easier for you because you're going to see it as a new agent, new employee that is helping you with something, right? And you will identify better the needs for you rather than just, like you said earlier, just looking at it as a shiny object, use it for basic things.
So for the small business owner tuning into this, that what we described, like they're wearing 100 different hats and they just really haven't dove into this yet. Where should they begin when it comes to AI?
Basic
just
things.
Chat GPT.
Yes, get better at prompting, maybe, because prompting is really like the result that you're gonna get from whatever it is that you're looking for from the tool. Is the quality of the result depends on the quality of the prompt. It's basically how you're explaining things. If you have an intern or a new employee, if you don't tell them clearly what the expectations are, what you need, and invest the time. I have prompts that I use that are sometimes 4, 5, 6, even 10 lines long, but then the result is exactly what you want and you're done. You move on to something else.
No one has said that. Hey, you've dropped some gems in this one. No one has said that. I've never even thought of that. Like, yeah, what is the quality of what you're asking? Because that's going to be the quality of what you're going to get back.
Yes.
It's not like you can just kind of wing it and expect AI. No, it's going to do exactly what you tell it.
Exactly.
That's a great point.
Yeah, you need to be a good educator and invest the time to explain what you want. And I got some amazing results, and the prompts are long, and I save them because when you need them, it's just, there. So you have this kind of SOPs, of prompts. You know what I mean?
What's an SOP?
A standard standard operating procedure. Basically, it's a document where you show someone how to do something. step one, step two, step three, very in a very basic way. That's an SOP, like a procedure of how you do things. Now I have those prompts of when I want to have this thing, that's the best prompt that works for me. So it's like a new skill, which is prompt engineering. It has a name. It's not like something new, you know.
You've just motivated me right now because and I'll admit, like when with ChatGPT, oh, you got to use ChatGPT. I'm like, I don't need ChatGPT. But then someone's like, just watch this. I'm like, oh, it was like for some YouTube titles or something like that.
Yeah.
Just give me 10 of these, like instantly. I'm like, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
But, I don't want to rely on that, but I want to keep that part of my brain that thinks. But
yes,
that's why it's really inspiring.
But if you ask for those titles saying, I don't know, use a listicle, like basically 8 things, all the titles that start 8 things that you want to do, you know what I mean? Put the most important keywords in the very beginning, make it that long, and you put a number of characters. You know what I mean? You can keep going, then the results get better than just share with me 5 titles for an episode that is about X, Y, and Z. Make it, you know what I mean? Make it funny, make it interesting, make it this, you know what I mean? Like be specific, just like if you had an intern or someone or even a consultant, this is what I want from you. That's basically it.
You've really just filled in a gap for me personally because, all these people are saying like, it's going to be the people who know how to use these tools.
Yes.
And you've really made it clear. It's not just you logging on and you can just press a button and it's going to do everything no, you actually have to know how to think.
There's a skill.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that really, I'm glad you said all that. That actually,
it's a mindset. That's why you think about it as an agent, someone working for you, but it's a new hire. If you don't tell it what you need. And when we can take this even further, because later on when you have, and even now I see employee agents and stuff like that being online, but it's going to be even better in the future. If you have an employee, what like a human employee, what happens is when somebody leaves the company, we all know you can have all the best, SOPs in the world, best documentations. There's always a gap. There's always some time where the new person needs time to learn, your ways of doing things. But now if you have an agent, that AI is not going to quit. So it just keeps growing over time and developing expertise on your own business. You know what I mean? Like it's an employee that doesn't leave the company. Think about your best employee that you had 20 years ago and then had to leave for whatever reason. Think about this employee being here with you for 20 years, learning all the things that you wanted him or her to learn and developing all this expertise and working 24/7. You know what I mean? So it's a shift in mindset more than just, using the tool. It's the skills, it's how you think about it. And all of a sudden you're now thinking differently of your business.
I think I'm going to go upgrade my ChatGPT account to the paid account right after this. Let me know if you have an affiliate link.
No, I don't have one. But yeah, please do that. You will love it. You will love it.
Well, this has been, wow. This is like I feel like I just read a book. Like this is,
thank you.
This is great. I do have one more question for you. I have 20 more questions for you, but I'll save it. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Anything with your business or anything you wanted to bring to the table on anything?
Oh, I think we're definitely going through amazing times in terms of technology, and we just scratched the surface with all those technologies. What I would say is that there's so much going on, and the AI is growing at a really exponential, rate. So I think the best thing for business owners is to educate themselves, have this flexibility of mindset, start shifting the way they think about their business, more as systems than the way we all think, and we're personally attached to our businesses as different moving parts, moving components. That's going to help you understand which agents to use, when and how, and embrace those technologies. Because we didn't even talk about Web3. We didn't talk about, you know what I mean? Like
Web3, remind me of what that means.
We didn't talk about cryptocurrency. We didn't talk about blockchain. We didn't talk about anything in this episode. We didn't talk about metaverse. We didn't talk about all those technologies. So all those are going to happen, and the combination of those with AI is going to happen sometime. So you cannot obviously understand them and use them unless you educate yourself. So education, education, education for all, I would say, for all the amazing tech startups out there, because I'm meeting a lot of them. And in my last visit to Tunisia, I met like so many amazing founders, smart founders with amazing ideas, and in other events with startups in Singapore, and I'm helping another company in Ireland and in Africa and Kenya. A lot of smart people are out there with smart ideas. And what I would say is think about expanding. Think about expanding because no matter where you are in the world, expansion is always the solution. Think about expanding globally. Think about expanding to the US. There's never been a better time for that. And I had some startups asking me, well, why would we expand to the US first? I want to go global. It's just another country. Well, the US can be your launch pad to going global because you have all kind of communities, you name it, whatever you need, even a niche, you have it in the US. This is an amazing market. I didn't say it's easy, but it's an amazing market and you can make it. I've seen amazing success stories, so yeah, consider expanding and investing in the US, definitely.
Awesome. So I mean, that's actually one question, then a question, but so that's really the advantage of the US is just the communities, the opportunities.
Oh, I can keep. I have a whole workshop, 2 hours,
Okay.
about why you should expand.
Well, people need to hire you to go.
Oh my God! Like that's not only it. There's so
Save that
much
for part
more.
2. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll save that definitely. But that's not only it. There's so much more.
Okay, awesome. Eric, did you have any questions before we?
Well, I'm curious what your take is on cryptocurrency. Are you a big fan of it personally, or yeah?
Oh,
Just
I'm
curious.
I'm definitely a big fan. I'm actually an investor. I have a portfolio. We have 2 portfolios, me and my husband in crypto, and I think in the future, like near future, as adoption, government especially adoption comes in play, and because people are scared, one and two, there's a lot of scams in the
Huge amount of scams.
huge, which is scary, and I understand completely. You need to really be educated, so you know what is legit and how. I was talking to a friend that was he's a lawyer in NYC, and he specializes in cryptocurrency scams. And we were talking about the kind of lawsuits he's having, and he's like, if you're not basically having your money in a legit exchange, you're just sending your money to a wallet because they're promising you this or that kind of return on investment, then I have no way basically to really defend you. So I think crypto is amazing. Long story short, just to keep the answer short, I think blockchain is really, again, combined with the technologies we're talking about, is going to be a big deal. But then I think the education part is really lacking. That's what makes it easy for people to be scammed. And that's probably what is kind of limiting the expense. But when it's going to be big, it's going to be a game changer. It's going to happen. It's taking longer than it should, in my humble opinion, but it's going to happen. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I was just curious. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like I said, part 2, we'll have to.
Yeah.
No, that was a great question.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
full of
welcome.
them.
Because you understand that Eric knows a lot more about crypto than I do. So now maybe, you've just sent me on a journey because I got to go up my AI education and skill set.
Oh, I'm still learning every single day myself.
So I've been asking this question a lot, especially people in entrepreneurs in the startup community, such as yourself. Aside from having money, or we all know working hard, or maybe someone has a exact solution to a much needed problem. In your viewpoint, with all the startups and businesses you've worked with, is there a quality or qualities that you've seen in the ones that really succeed, aside from like the obvious ones? Like,
Resilience. Resilience. That's it. Resilience. Because if you're a business owner or startup founder, life is going to throw so many things at you. It's personal, it's business, it's employees, it's the economy, so much. But if you're not resilient, the people who stay till the end and finish whatever they started are the people that are resilient. They don't give up. They're not quitters. They're not quitters. I think that it's not even you being smart or not. It's not quitting. You know what I mean? It's not about any gift that you already had or even skills, because all of that can come, or opportunities or luck, or because luck can be created. in my humble opinion, you create luck with what you're doing. Because I've seen it happen for me, all amazing opportunities. Um, I had someone hire me last year for 2 hours for $5,000 for a consultation. I've never been paid that high before that. And that's an opportunity. I never worked for it. You know what I mean? I just kept building because I enjoy the journey and I love adding value. And, if people see you doing this consistently and you being true to yourself and not quitting, then it just ends up happening. There's no way around it. You know what I mean? And that's, I think, not quitting is the biggest deal, because it's so easy to say, oh, it's too hard, and it's the economy, it's XYZ. Sometimes it is, but it doesn't mean give you an excuse for you to quit. Don't give up. That's the people that I've seen really succeed.
I love that. It was a phenomenal answer. Well, Ines, this has been awesome. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for coming on here and doing this. I'm going to give you the last word, but before I do, how can people get a hold of you? Where can they find you online to work with you, hire you, learn more about you? Where should people go?
Thank you so much, first of all, for having me. It's been a amazing experience. I enjoyed the synergy that we're having. It was very informal chat. People can find me on LinkedIn. Like, LinkedIn is my preferred social media. It just aligns with what I'm doing. So yeah, if you want to reach out to me for a new project, you need help with whatever you have going on, is you expanding to the US, or you have a small business and you want to grow it, or you're a startup and you really want to be aggressive on growing online, because I know that's really can impact even investing opportunities. So reach out and we will see what we can do. I even sometimes provide, free advice for people that I feel like need it but can't afford my services. And I'm like, yeah, and they come back. They make more money and they have those funds and they come back. And why don't we do whatever XYZ you talked about last year? Because now I have the funds. You know what I mean? So yeah, reach out and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, and I really love how you've really intention and value are two things I really take from this conversation. It seems like you've done a phenomenal job of both of those. And like you said, you did something for free, but you gave value,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
people remember that and they come
And
back.
sometimes when you have some certain expertise, when you say yes or no to something, you just share your experience with that person, it could be a game changer. It opens their eyes and avoids them, very costly mistakes. It doesn't cost much to you, but then it has a lot of value, and it changed. I've seen that with many people that I mentored. I had I'm gonna finish with that. I had a startup founder. We connected last week, and she's an alumna of a State Department funded program. And in the middle of the conversation, I said, "By the way, we met before." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And I'm terrible at remembering a lot of things, but I was like, "Oh, really? When did we meet?" She said we met in 2017 back in a meeting with the World Bank. It was a meeting where they gathered different experts, and we were talking about the importance of a partner for female founders. That was the topic. And she was like, "I was in the room and I heard what you said, and that was a game changer. It helped me because she had some dilemma going on in her personal life, and she said it helped me see clearly which direction to go. It was absolutely not my intention, and I don't pretend to be an expert in relationships, not at all. But she said I saw this from a different perspective, and it helped me make my decision, and that kind of changed a lot for me. Like it meant a lot for me.
You never know who's listening, and what something you may not have thought was a big thing was
Yes.
a huge thing for someone to hear.
And now she reached out for a big project with big fundings. And she was like, "This is something that we're doing for entrepreneurs. And I can think of anybody better than you to do that, because your advice was really genuine. You didn't expect anything. And I see how it, impacted me." So just, be generous. That's what I would say. If you're an expert, don't nickel and dime and everything. We all want to be paid. Don't get me wrong. We all need, to pay our bills and have a comfortable life. But then if you have this ability, because not everybody has it, this ability to help people and change lives just by sharing a little bit of expertise, you're going to be making a world a better place. One advice, at a time. And for sure, this is going to come back to you. and this is going to be extremely rewarding. So that's how I approach things. I don't nickel and dime all the time. And then I have all those opportunities happening. You know what I mean? I don't even have to, do some outreach or cold calling or anything. That's how I'm busy. So that would be my advice, because it works. I experienced that it works.
Thank you so much. You gave us so much value here tonight.
Hopefully, thank you. Appreciate that.
No, I'm going to be really looking forward to going through this edit because it's when we
Absolutely.
rewatch, because you gave so much
Thank you.
brilliant advice, really made me think a lot. And this was a true treat.
Oh,
I'll
thank
have
you
to do
so
part
much.
2 later down the road.
Why not? Thank you. I'm happy you see the value in our conversation.
Absolutely. And I always give the guests the last word. You've already given us so much. It can be as short or as little as you or long as you want it to be. How would you like to end this podcast?
Reach out to me on LinkedIn and let's see whatever you have going on. If I can help in any given way, I'll do it. If I know someone that can help, I will connect you with that person. And just count me as a resource, and we'll see what happens.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate you, Sam.
Appreciate you. Hi, everyone. Sam Dever, the Sam Dever Podcast here, and I just want to thank you for checking out this episode. To watch and listen to future episodes, be sure to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@thesamdeverpodcast. Thank you so much. See you soon.